My ogólnie zajmujemy się szeroko pojętym monitorowaniem sieci, wykrywaniem anomalii i gromadzeniem takich informacji o tym, co w sieci się dzieje. Główne nasze profile działalności są skupione na monitorowaniu sieci najróżniejszej wielkości, wymiarów oraz w najróżniejszych branżach. Jest to przede wszystkim zbudowane poprzez sondę, która takie informacje z sieci jest w stanie sobie pobrać i wysyłać je na kolektor. Jesteśmy firmą już o wieloletnim doświadczeniu. Mamy kilkanaście projektów w Polsce, wiele projektów w całej Unii Europejskiej oraz poza granicami naszego kontynentu. To, co najważniejsze, to jest to, że przede wszystkim bierzemy pod uwagę współpracę z operatorami i tutaj głównie kierujemy naszą działalność. O bardziej dokładnych szczegółach naszej działalności opowie Państwu za chwilę Petr, który jest naszym product managerem odpowiedzialnym za wszystkie rozwiązania FlowMoon. A teraz, żeby nie być gołosłownym, to możecie Państwo zobaczyć pewien skrawek przeglądu naszych klientów, którzy do tej pory nam zaufali. Są to firmy od firm rządowych poprzez dużych operatorów, takich jak Korean Telecom czy UPC T-Mobile. Również na przykład cały CESnet, to jest odpowiednik polskiego pioniera, tylko ulokowany w naszych dolnych sąsiadach w Czechach. Jest oparty poprzez monitorowanie oparte na naszych urządzeniach. Teraz oddam głos Petrowi, który dokładnie opowie wam, jak działają nasze rozwiązania.
Okay, thank you very much for the introduction, and I will start with the agenda of my presentation. In the beginning, I would like to present to you some statistics, maybe interesting or surprising statistics about the network and the security, and I would like to show you or do a standard overview about the standard security tools which are typically used. Then I will focus, of course, mainly on the network traffic and security monitoring as a technology and what it could bring to you. Then I will introduce our solutions, FlowMoon solutions, and at the end I would like to prove that it is the really things which you should think about is in the use case, how was discovered of botnet, Chuck Norris, by the network traffic and security monitoring. So let's start with the network and the security. So there is in the databases of antivirus companies, there is more than 70 million malware samples. So it is a really huge number and it is a really bigger problem, I would say. It is expected that it is about 3 or 4 million hosted which are infected by the botnets, and of course, the distribution between the botnets change in the times, but the number of the infected hosts are still rising, and it is a real big problem for all of us. And very interesting is also to think about the motivation of the attackers, why they do the attacks. In the beginning of the century, it was mainly about publicity, to prove that I'm able to hack the systems, to have a publicity, but then the motivation changed to get some money from it. It was financially motivated, and nowadays in the last months and years we see hacktivism, which is about a protest against some political ideas, about some rules and so on. What is really also interesting is how many databases were made public in last month. It was more than 200 in the 2011, and these are the databases only to the largest enterprises, and there were of course much more of them which were not public and to small and mid-sized businesses and so on. And what is also another trend, that it is possible to rent a botnet as a service, and it is quite cheap, which you can see on the slide, that it is quite cheap to do a DOS attack to anyone, to buy a spam service or so on. So it is the real problem, and what I try to say by these statistics is that the attacks against any organizations, and it doesn't matter if it is small or mid-sized businesses, enterprises, government, education organizations, or ISPs are still rising. And the attackers uses a very different approaches and types of the attacks, from hacking, cracking, social engineering, botnets, identity thefts, and so on. And the organizations don't know which specific threats to fight. In fact, they should fight all of them, but another problem is that many of the attacks are undetectable by the standard approaches, like advanced persistent threats, zero-day attacks, and so on. And what are the possibilities? What can do the organizations to protect their network, and what can do ISPs? So the organizations, of course, need to take care about the security on the perimeter, which means protect internal network against the external threats, against external attackers who try to get to internal systems, internal network, and they use this firewall, IDS, IPS system, UTM, application firewalls, and so on. Also, it is of course necessary to protect end-user stations, to do endpoint security by antiviruses, personal firewalls, anti-malware, endpoint DLP, and so on, to protect computers, laptops, mobile phones, and so on. But what is also very important is to do a security between these two parts, into do internal network security, to have a visibility into your network, what is happening on communications levels, and it is good also to use some advanced systems which analyze the traffic and gives you the automatic detection of anomalies and suspicious behavior, and so on. The ISPs are in the little bit different situation, I would say, because they have to, of course, face to the same threats, but they do not have so many possibilities how to do that. And in fact, the ISPs shouldn't only protect themselves against the threats, but also they should also help to protect their customers, and also to protect internet from their customers. And what possibilities they have? They of course have to do network element security, in the meanings to do security on switches, routers, and other devices which they use. In communication, do secure management, which services are enabled, and so on. Then it is of course do network security, in meaning of routing, rate limiting, filtering, redundancy, and so on, and of course detect the incidents which are happening in his network, which can get by the alert from customers, ISPs, or any third party, which is not so good to detect it from anybody else, or they have their own system, IDS, syslogs, SNMP, and so on. And what is the really similar, like for any organization, is necessary to have a visibility into the network and to see what is happening there, and to be able to detect anomalies based on the communications and the real happening in the network. So what I try to say is that all the approaches and the tools which I mentioned are very important from the security perspective, but most of them are aimed to protect from the known threats and attackers, from the which were already discovered in the before, and then we are able to protect them, to block them. And that is the reason why it's so important to do and look inside your network, which communications are there, and to be able to detect any suspicious and even the sophisticated attacks which are not detected by the other tools. And now I will talk a little bit more about the technology of network traffic and security monitoring, and what is it in fact about. It is in fact modern method for the network monitoring. It is based on Cisco standard, or Cisco standard NetFlow is de facto standard for the network monitoring, and it is widely used. And it is all about monitoring of packet headers. So we do not look inside the packet payloads. We do not see content of the communications. We communicate only the packet headers. And based on this information, we generate, the technology generate flows, which means, or each flows characterize the communications between two endpoints, computers, computer and server and so on, and the flow is identified by source and destination IP address, source and destination port and protocol number, and all the statistics which is able to get from the packet headers, which means how many packet was transferred, how many bytes was it, what was the VLAN tags, TCP flag set, and so on. And in fact, if you think about it, it provides you the detailed overview about the communications and what is happening in the network. And in fact, you are able to deploy such a solution through all your network, so not only in the specific place or in a specific time. What is the typical architecture of such a solutions? It is necessary to have some source of the network statistics, the net flow data, which are typically on the switches, routers, or you can use some specialized probes for such purposes. And in fact, they monitor the traffic, generate the statistics, and export them typically to central device, where are collected all the data from all the sources and collected, and there is done the analysis, and you have a visibility through all your network. And based on this information, you can do the network security, traffic visibility, and so on. And what it brings you the visibility into your network, and in real time, and typically historically several months or years back, it just matter on the size of the storage. And you can see the data in many ways, like in top-end statistics. You can define your own profiles. You can drill down up to the communications level. You can do alerting, reporting, anything you need it. And you can use such information for the, of course, great enhancement of your security. You can track the incidents, but this technology has also great benefits also for the network management. You can use it for fast, precise troubleshooting, for the attending, capacity planning. Some ISPs use it for IP test accounting and billing, reduce the cost, and so on. And network behavior analysis is the technology, and in fact, it is the advanced approach how to use the data. It automatically analyze the flow data, and based on this automatic analysis is able to detect threats, attacks based on the behavior patterns detections. Very important thing is that the patterns are not patterns somewhere in the content of the communications, but pattern of the behavior, how looks, for example, DOS attacks, how looks SSH dictionary attacks, and so on. And another part of it is behavior analysis to, based on behavior profiles, detect anomalies, suspicious behavior, and so on. And such a technology is also advised by Gartner that it is a good complement to signature-based mechanism. And it brings you, again, the visibility and also the great security enhancement and so. Now I would like to present you on a few slides our solutions, how we do that, what we can offer you. Flowmon, it is the solution based on the technologies which I just introduced: NetFlow, network traffic, and security monitoring, and provide you the information who, with whom communicated, how long, how many data was transferred, and so on. The architecture of our solution is really similar with the flow monitoring architecture, of course. It consists from the Flowmon probes as a source of the net flow statistics, Flowmon collectors for collecting and evaluating the statistics, and also the additional plugins, additional functionality to our solutions, which brings additional features. And the main main important tool plugin is Flowmon ADS system, which do the automatic traffic analysis for reveal the operational and the security issues. Flowmon probe, just really briefly, because the most things was already said. It is the probe which you connect to the network, monitor the traffic, provide you the statistics, and the great benefits is it doesn't affect your network, because if you enable NetFlow on your switches or routers, you could have some problem with it. if you deploy such a probe, it is a completely transparent for your network, and there is no need to have any worry, and it could be deployed to any network, any speeds and so on. Because we offer the standard models of our probes, which are suitable for the most of the networks, and also the hardware accelerated, which are great for the backbones, links, monitoring, ISPs, where we guarantee the wire speed performance, and so. Flowmon collector, standalone appliances which collect the data, analyze them, and it is a really professional solutions for the monitoring, and storage capacity is up to 100 terabytes, and really, again, we are the performance leader in such processing of the data. But what is more important, or could be interesting for you, is about the GUI of our collector, which provides you the detail in graphs, tables. You can drill down to the communication to see what is really happening nowadays in your network, and to use it for management, troubleshooting, optimization of your network. You can define your own profiles, you can do reporting in email, PDF, and get it, set alerts, and so on. Regarding the plugins, as I said, which are available for our solutions, there are the plugins like ADS system, which I mentioned a little bit in more details, but also we have a plugin for Flowmon data retention, load fulfillment, for HTTP logging, detection of nuts in the server, and so on. But a very interesting system is the Flowmon ADS, which is based on the described network behavior analysis, which is able to detect the suspicious behavior in the networks in meanings of attacks, undesirable services, and also the operational and security problems in your networks. It makes profiles of computer host in your computer, detect the anomalies, provides you the information about traffic volume, structure, and so on. And on this slide, you can see the basic overview about what parts it can be done and detect by such a system. There's a lot of attacks like port scanning, DOS, DDoS. You can detect undesirable applications, internal security problems, operational problems like delays in the network, anomalies in DNS, and so on. And the benefits of the solution is about the visibility, and to use such information for optimization, troubleshooting, management of the network, and also for the great enhancement of the security. And now, at the end of my presentation, I would like to present you the use case, how was by network traffic and security monitoring discovered of botnet Chuck Norris, because I think it is quite a nice example that it is really important to take care about these things, and so. In fact, the botnet Chuck Norris was discovered on Masaryk University by their security team, and it was discovered by network security monitoring, and they found out that there is a lot of attempts from all over the world to connect to the telnet service to devices in their network. So they ask, who nowadays use the telnet? Why do devices from all over the world try to connect to the telnet network? So they then followed the detailed analysis, which led to botnet discovery and complete analysis. In fact, when they do a backtracking, what is in fact happening there, they found out that the infected devices are ADSL modems, Wi-Fi routers, which means the SOHO devices which all of us have in their homes, in meaning for internet connections, to have routers and so. And they analyzed the infected devices, the modems, routers, were able to connect to the command and conquer server and completely analyze the behavior of the botnet itself. And what they found out, as I said, they found out that the botnet attacks the Linux servers and SOHO devices, the modems, the routers, and the infected devices try to infect, of course, other devices to be the botnet larger and larger. And they use it by port scanning of the telnet port, and if the telnet port was open, they try to get to the system by the dictionary attacks, where they use only the 15 passwords, and in most and in many cases it was successful, just by the really simple passwords and user logins. And then, of course, the infected devices are connected to the Command and Conquer central server, which send them the commands what to do. Here's the information about the dates, about the botnet, and what is really interesting that it take quite a lot of time before when it was prepared or done the botnet, and when it was discovered. In fact, in the tool which was used as a part of the botnet was compiled in the July 2008. First files to the distribution servers were uploaded in the May 2011, but the botnet itself was discovered at December 2009. So there was quite a lot of months when the tying and was larger and larger. And then, of course, there were the attempts to shut down the botnet, but it is quite complicated, because if some servers are shut down, then there were another new server, so it's really hard to stop it. And when it was stopped, then it was the version 2 of Chuck Norris in May 2010, and different modifications are working till now in form of Hydra botnets and so. And here on the picture you can see the distribution of how many scans and how many communications was there during these days. And if you monitor the network, you can see the lot of attempts to connect to the telnet port till now, and so there is still a lot of infected devices all over Europe and all over the world, in fact. So to summarize it, what was really interesting and important on this botnet is that it doesn't attack the end-user computers, end-user devices, but the SOHO devices like modems, routers. And in fact, the users were not aware about the malicious activities, because there is no antivirus or any system how to detect it that your ADSL modem is infected. And another very important thing is that the attackers are able to manipulate with complete traffic inside or outside from your network. So they can do anything like changes the DNS, or do DOS attacks, or do phishing and anything else. And other big concern is that the attack was based on really trivial dictionary attacks, only the 15 passwords. And in fact, I must say that a lot of network operators which put there these SOHO devices underestimated the possibility of such trivial attack, because there should be, or on any such devices, should be disallowed to communication from outside network on telnet port, and if there is, there shouldn't be the default login and passwords. And at the end, why the botnet is called Chuck Norris, it was named by the comments which was in the source code of the botnet, that it was made in Nomad Chuck Norris. So if it's network traffic and security monitoring interesting topic for you, you can see our next presentation tomorrow, or please visit our booth and discuss with us. And now, thank you very much for your attention, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask.